Hello, my friends, and welcome back to English Unleashed 365. I am so happy to have you here today. If you are new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe, click like, and share this episode with a friend who also wants to improve their English. Together, we are building a community of learners who practice, grow, and support each other every day. The title of today's episode is Train Your Brain to Think in English Fast. This is one of the most powerful ideas for anyone learning a language, because the truth is this: if you want to speak English naturally, you must stop thinking in your first language and start thinking directly in English. That is the secret. Think for a moment. Have you ever been in a situation where someone asked you a question in English and you knew the answer in your own language, but you froze? You felt the words in your head, but they were in your native language, and you needed time to translate. By the time you found the English words, the conversation had already moved on. That is exactly what happens when your brain has not yet trained itself to think in English. The good news is this: your brain can change. Your brain is flexible, like a muscle. Just as you can train your body at the gym to grow stronger, you can train your brain to think in English faster. Today, I want to give you a roadmap, a clear path that you can follow every day to make this happen. The first step is to understand how the brain works with languages. When you were a child, you learned your first language by connecting words directly to objects, actions, and feelings. You saw a dog, and someone said dog. You heard your mother say milk while giving it to you. No translation was needed. That is why you speak your first language so naturally. But in school, many people learn English differently. They learn by translation. The teacher writes a word in English and then writes the meaning in the native language. The student memorizes the pair. For example, apple, quatao. The problem with this method is that it creates an extra step in your brain. You see the fruit, you think quatao, then you translate to apple. That extra step makes you slow and nervous. To think in English, you must cut out that extra step. You must connect the English word directly to the object, action, or feeling. When you see the fruit, you must think immediately, apple. When you feel thirsty, you must think immediately, I am thirsty. That is the goal. How do we train this ability? One powerful method is called naming practice. Look around you right now. Say what you see in English: chair, table, window, book, phone. Do it quickly, without translating. If you do not know a word, look it up, and then repeat it many times. The more you do this, the stronger the direct link becomes in your brain. Another method is self-talk. This means speaking to yourself in English during daily activities. For example, when you wake up, you can say, I am brushing my teeth. I am washing my face. I am making coffee. When you walk outside, say, "The weather is hot today. I see a bus. I hear children playing." It may feel strange at first, but it is very effective. You are training your inner voice to use English. A third method is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a short clip in English and repeating it immediately at the same time as the speaker. This forces your brain to keep up with English rhythm and speed. At first, you will miss words, but that is okay. With practice, your brain learns to react faster, and your mouth learns to move naturally in English. Now, some of you may be thinking, "But I don't have time." My answer is, you don't need hours. You just need moments. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Think of English practice like brushing your teeth. It is short, daily, and it keeps your language healthy. Consistency is the key. Let me give you an example of a simple daily routine. In the morning, when you wake up, listen to a short podcast in English. During lunch, read one short article in English. In the evening, write 3 sentences about your day in English. Before bed, speak 1 sentence aloud to yourself, like, "I am improving every day." This routine takes less than 20 minutes, but it transforms your brain over time. I want to tell you a story. One of my students, Carlos, always translated in his head. He was afraid to speak because he thought too slowly. I gave him the self-talk exercise. At first, he laughed and said it was silly, but after 1 month, he came back and said, "Teacher, something happened. I was walking with my friend, and I realized I was thinking in English without effort. It just happened." That is the power of daily training. Mistakes are part of the process. Many learners fear mistakes. They feel embarrassed. They feel shy. They feel like people will laugh. But remember this: every mistake is a sign that you are practicing. A baby falls many times before walking. A musician plays wrong notes before performing. You must make mistakes before speaking fluently. So do not fear mistakes. Fear silence. Fear not trying. When you practice daily, your brain begins to change. At first, you must push, but slowly. English becomes natural. You start to dream in English. You start to count in English. You start to have an inner voice in English. That is the true goal. The journey from translation to thinking in English is not instant. It is not magic, but it is real, and it is possible. If you follow these steps with consistency, you will notice changes in weeks, not years. You will feel lighter, faster, and more confident. And confidence is the fuel for fluency. If you really want to train your brain to think in English fast, you need more than just exercises. You need a clear system that you can follow every day. A system gives you structure. It gives you confidence. It helps you stay motivated even on days when you feel tired. Let's begin with the idea of habit stacking. This means connecting English practice to habits you already have. For example, if you drink coffee every morning, you can listen to English for 5 minutes while drinking your coffee. If you check your phone before bed, you can read one short English article before you sleep. When you connect English to things you already do, practice becomes automatic. You do not need willpower. You just do it naturally. Another powerful method is micro-practice. Many learners believe they need 1 or 2 hours of study every day. But the truth is that short, frequent practice is more effective. Your brain remembers better when it receives small doses of English many times during the day. That is why 5 minutes, repeated 3 or 4 times, is better than 1 big hour once a week. Here are some micro-practice ideas. While waiting for the bus, repeat 3 sentences in English. While cooking, describe your actions. I cut the tomato. I stir the soup. While walking, describe what you see. The sun is bright. A dog is barking. 2 children are laughing. These moments may seem small, but they build a habit of thinking in English. Now let's talk about one of the biggest challenges: fear of speaking. Many learners tell me, I know the words, I know the grammar, but I freeze when I speak. This fear is normal, but you can reduce it. The first step is to change your relationship with mistakes. A mistake is not proof of weakness. A mistake is proof that you are practicing. Think of it like this. If you go to the gym, you sweat. Sweat is not failure. Sweat is proof that you are working hard. In the same way, mistakes are proof that you are exercising your English muscles. Every mistake is progress. So celebrate mistakes. Smile at them. Learn from them. The second step to reducing fear is the 3-second rule. When someone asks you a question, answer within 3 seconds. Do not wait too long. Waiting makes fear grow. Even if your answer is simple, say it. For example, if someone asks, "How was your weekend?" After 3 seconds, just say, "It was nice. I relaxed." This builds your confidence little by little. The third step is positive self-talk. Your inner voice can be your enemy or your friend. If your inner voice says, "I can't do this. My English is bad," you will freeze. But if your inner voice says, "I can do this. My English is improving," you will speak more easily. Train your inner voice. Tell yourself every day, "I'm an English speaker. I'm improving step by step." Let me share a story. One of my students, Amina, was always afraid to speak in class. She had good grammar and vocabulary, but she stayed silent. I taught her to use positive self-talk and the 3-second rule. After 2 months, she raised her hand and spoke in front of the whole class. Her English was not perfect, but she spoke with confidence. She told me afterward, "The fear is still there, but now I know how to control it." Now let's focus on shadowing, because it is one of the most effective tools. Shadowing is listening to a short piece of English and repeating it at the same time as the speaker. You can use podcasts, YouTube videos, or audiobooks. At first, it feels difficult. You may miss words, but the goal is not perfection. The goal is rhythm, speed, and flow. Here is how to do it. Step 1. Choose a short clip, maybe 20 or 30 seconds. Step 2. Listen once. Step 3. Play it again and repeat immediately. Step 4. Repeat the process several times until you feel the rhythm. With daily shadowing, your brain becomes faster and your mouth becomes more natural. Another great method is writing short reflections. At the end of each day, write 3 sentences in English about what you did. For example, today I went to work. I met my friend. I felt happy. Writing helps you slow down and organize your thoughts in English. It also gives you a record of your progress. Some learners say, "But I don't know what to write." My advice is, keep it simple. Do not try to be perfect. Do not try to be Shakespeare. Just write what you can, even short. Simple sentences build the habit of thinking in English. Now let's talk about emotions. Why do songs get stuck in your head? Why do you remember movies years later? Because they make you feel something. Your brain remembers emotions better than facts. That is why you must connect English to feelings. When you say, "I am happy," smile. When you say, "I am tired," act it out. When you say, "I am excited," raise your voice. This creates stronger memory and makes English come alive. A powerful way to connect emotion to English is through stories. Read short stories. Listen to podcasts with real-life examples, or even tell your own stories in English. Stories are easy to remember because they have characters, feelings, and events. Try telling a simple story about your day in English. It does not need to be perfect. Just tell it as best as you can. Consistency is everything. Many learners study hard for 1 week and then stop. That does not work. Language learning is like planting a tree. If you water the tree once with 10 liters of water, it will not survive. But if you give it 1 glass every day, it will grow strong. Do the same with English. A little every day is better than a lot once in a while. Here is a sample routine you can try. In the morning, listen to English for 5 minutes. During the day, practice micro self-talk 3 times. In the afternoon, do 1 shadowing exercise. In the evening, write 3 sentences about your day. Before bed, say 1 positive sentence aloud. I am getting better. This takes less than 20 minutes, but it changes your brain step by step. Remember this: fluency is not perfection. Fluency is confidence. Fluency is the ability to keep going even if you make mistakes. If you follow these daily strategies, your brain will start to choose English naturally. One day, you will realize that you are thinking in English without effort. That is the breakthrough moment to truly train your brain to think in English fast. You must go beyond study. You must create an English lifestyle. This means English is not something separate from your daily life. It becomes part of who you are. When English surrounds you, when English enters your routines, when English enters your thoughts, your brain has no choice but to accept it as natural. One of the easiest ways to build this lifestyle is to change the environment around you. Change your phone to English. Change your computer to English. When you shop online, try using the English version of the website. Follow YouTube channels, Instagram accounts, and podcasts in English. The more you see and hear English in your daily environment, the faster your brain accepts it. Another powerful step is to label your world in English. Take sticky notes and write the English words for common objects in your home: mirror, fridge, door, lamp. Every time you see these words, you connect directly. You stop translating. You just see the fridge and you think fridge. Over time, these direct connections replace translation. Let's talk about your inner voice. Your inner voice is that little conversation in your head, the words you use to think. Normally, this voice speaks your native language, but you can train it to use English. Start with short thoughts. When you wake up, instead of thinking, "Toy bonungu," think, "I am sleepy." When you look out the window, think, "It's raining." When you eat lunch, think, "This is delicious." At first, it feels slow, but as you continue, your inner voice gets stronger. You start to think in English automatically. This is a real turning point. Many learners tell me, "One day I realized my inner voice was in English." That is when you know your brain has changed. To make your inner voice stronger, use questions and answers in your head. For example, what am I doing? I'm washing the dishes. How do I feel? I feel tired but happy. What will I do later? I will call my friend. This little exercise trains your brain to have conversations in English. Another important step is to use English for fun. If English is only study, it feels heavy. But when English is fun, your brain learns faster. Watch movies in English. Listen to music in English. Play games in English. Read stories that you enjoy. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Enjoy the feeling of being inside the language. Emotion is powerful. Your brain remembers emotions more than facts. That is why you remember movies, songs, and funny stories years later. If you laugh in English, cry in English, or feel inspired in English, those words will stay in your memory forever. So choose English content that makes you feel something. Now let's talk about sharing English with others. Learning alone is good, but learning with others is better. Speak with friends who are also learning. Join a speaking club, online or offline. Write comments in English on YouTube or social media. Share your ideas in English. When you use English to connect with people, it feels real. It feels alive. And your brain learns much faster. You can even teach others. If you learn a new phrase, explain it to a friend. Teaching forces you to think clearly in English. It is one of the best ways to master what you have learned. Another key is to see yourself differently. Many learners think, I am not an English speaker. I am only a student. But if you believe this, you will always wait for the future. You will never feel ready. I want you to change that belief today. Tell yourself, I am an English user. I am an English speaker. Even if your sentences are simple, even if you make mistakes, you are still using English. Identity is powerful. If you see yourself as a user, you give yourself permission to speak now. Not tomorrow, not one day in the future. Now, confidence grows from action. You do not wait for confidence before speaking. You speak first, and then confidence comes. Every time you speak, you grow stronger. Every time you think in English, you grow faster. Here is a simple exercise to build confidence. Every night before bed, say one positive sentence in English out loud. For example, I am proud of myself today. Or, I learned something new today. Or, tomorrow I will practice again. These small sentences plant seeds of confidence in your mind. Over time, they become habits. Let me tell you about one of my students, Hannah. She used to say, I can never think in English. My brain is too slow. But she practiced self-talk, shadowing, and inner voice training every day. After 3 months, she told me, Teacher, I dreamed in English last night. I didn't translate. I just lived it. That moment changed her life. She realized she had become someone who thinks in English. So let's bring everything together. Here is your roadmap. Train awareness. Notice when you translate. Build direct input. Connect English words to objects and feelings. Use self-talk and shadowing daily. Create a daily routine with morning, micro, and evening practice. Manage fear with positive self-talk and the 3-second rule. Surround yourself with English in your lifestyle. Strengthen your inner voice until it speaks English naturally. Shift your identity. See yourself as an English speaker now. If you follow these steps, you will stop translating. You will start thinking in English. You will speak with more confidence and more freedom. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is the courage to speak, the ability to continue, and the trust that your message matters. Do not compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yesterday. If today you speak one more sentence than yesterday, you are winning. If today you translate less than yesterday, you are moving forward. My friends, remember this. Fluency is not magic. It is not luck. It is not talent. It is daily practice, small steps, repeated again and again. Build your English brain. So from today, promise yourself, no more waiting, no more fear, no more translation. Train your brain. Think in English and live in English. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. This is English Unleashed 365, and I believe in you. You have everything you need to succeed. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. Goodbye for now. And remember, train your brain to think in English fast, and the world will open its doors to you.